Here we go. It is recording. Okay, so I could give you this copy. I don't want to spend too long on this, but recall in your first class 1 folder, you have these 2 handouts, which I'm going to open. It's really the 3rd handout that you want to look at. These are the samples that I give as if this is an actual text. Notice it's all double spaced, right? Notice also that the number comes after the punctuation, after the quote or after the period. Some of you, sometimes I notice you put your footnote before the period. It comes in after that, per se. And in general, look at this first example. Notice the only time you have to see footnotes as a continuous sentence. The only time you might have a period might be
Ricky, excuse me.
Yes.
Which paper are you showing something? I don't see anything.
Yeah, Father, you're not sharing your screen. We're just seeing a seal of Santa Clara.
I see.
Thank you.
I'm going to start all over. Can you see this now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Father.
Thanks, Nabor. So this is the handout you have, number 3 in class 1, right? Footnote samples, spring 2018, and that's what I opened up to. Okay. And I was saying these are all examples that you could draw from when you write your paper. What I was saying about before was that usually the footnote comes after the punctuation, so after the quote, or after number 2 down here, after the period. I just said that because some of you put your footnote out before the period, before the quote. So it actually comes after. And then as an example, like number 1 that I quoted up there, basically, when you see this one here, Bruce Morrill, right? Think of footnotes as a continuous sentence without periods. If you have periods, like Bruce, that has to be because that's an initial of his name. But there's really no period other than abbreviations per se. And if you notice for footnotes, you use the first name first and the last name second, comma, encountering Christ in Eucharist. That should be italicized. There's no period there. It's just a space. Parentheses. Put the city, and state, colon, the publishers, comma, the year it was written, end parentheses, comma, and then the page number 31, and then period. So we finally get to the period there. In contrast to that, I'm going to skip down now. We'll go back up there later. But bibliographies, the last page has bibliography entries. And if you see this, there are periods after each one of these, okay? And also the first entry for this, you use the last name, Costello, comma, Boni, period. And that would be in alphabetical order. So this has 2 examples, C and Z, right? So Costello, Boni, period. The name of the book, period. Cambridge, that's the same thing as before, except it doesn't have the parentheses, basically. Okay? You don't have to put page numbers on this unless it's going to be this next example, an article. But for books, you just have to tell me the book, per se. The footnotes give the page numbers, per se. For articles, I'm gonna go up first in footnotes with articles. So number 5 is an example of an article. If you found this in a journal, this particular journal is called Worship, very popular journal for academic geeky things. But anyway, like a footnote, again, there really are no periods unless it's an abbreviation. The full name first, Michael Biani, comma. Articles, you don't italicize, they have rather quotes, okay? Whereas books, you italicize, like up here, right? But it's basically quotes, comma, and then you put the name of the article, that's italicized. This is usually the volume number. And you'll find that at the beginning of every, in the information index of a journal, sometimes even in the front cover, they'll give it the volume number. Parentheses, the date. Sometimes it has the the specific date, like January 21st. Sometimes it's just usually the month and the year. And then it has, now Turabian says it should be colon. I've seen this done because this is the page number. Just like books, after the parentheses here, you have a comma, but over here they have a colon. I really don't care. I've seen both. Whether you want to do a comma after parentheses for both, I'll be okay with that. Or if you want to stick to this, I'm okay with that too. And then the page number period, just like in a book, page number period. So whether you use a colon or comma, I'm okay with that because I've seen both, even in scholarly articles. So those are examples of books and periodicals or journals, you know. What about in a website? If you go to the Vatican website, for example, you simply list the name of that website. The Vatican Holy, there's no right or wrong really with this one. Just tell me the name of the website. If it's like, you know, it might be Amazon. You know, you would just write Amazon. That's all I really need to know, per se. And then colon, and then just paste, you know, paste the website there with a period at the end. That's really all you need for websites. Okay? If it's this comes up a lot too. If it's if a lecture, some people have quoted me in one of my lectures in their paper. Okay? And you might do that too if you want to, like based on what I said. Which means it's not as verifiable as written down because maybe I wasn't really thinking clearly. But some people would, you know, would still like it. They may be like something I said in a PowerPoint. Like you can actually quote me. I guess it just qualifies. And now in this case, you would put like, you know, in this case, this was Kathleen Harmon who gave the lecture. If you want to do me, it would be my name, Ricky Manalo, comma. Remember, this is a footnote, no periods, unless it's italicized. You give quotes for lectures. It's not a book. It was a lecture. So there was a title of my lecture. In this case, the title would be what you find in the syllabus if you wanted to quote me, whatever the title of this class is, you know. Again, there's no period after that. And then you put in parentheses, you put lecture, you know. So you would say lecture, and then comma, you might want to give what it was. It was say this was a conference. For this, you might want to just simply say something like, if it was a lecture I gave on Saturday when I was with you, you know, or just give the, I would say like class 8. If you want to do it tonight, it would make like class 9, you know, ordination rates or whatever it is. And then the city, I gave it here in San Francisco, the date, and then the year. Just so people know, you know, where the lecture comes from. But that's usually the idea. Name, full name, first name first. Articles and lectures, you put in quotes. No period yet. Parentheses. In this case, call it a lecture, and then city and date. Period. Okay, you don't have to give it the exact time I said something. Another thing, 2 more things I want to say. Usually it might be a book within a book. That's common in papers, right? Like if you, in other words, there's something Marto said, and maybe he quoted Lawrence Mink to make things up, let's say. So how do you quote that? But you don't have the actual book. Because it's, you know, it was 1959, you didn't have a chance to go to the library, but you're using Marto's book, right? So he's quoting another author. So what you do there, you basically say where that original author came from. In this case, it was Simone de Beauvoir. Again, that's the first name first, second name second. No periods. In fact, there's no periods here until the very end. The name of the first resource, where it came from, the second sex, as if this is a regular footnote, as if you're holding the actual original book, but that you don't actually have, but as if you're holding it in front of you, just like any other footnote. 38, page 38. But rather than a period, you're going to say it's quoted in, and then, like in this case, you might say, you know, Joseph Martos, but say quoted in Joseph Martos, comma, you know, and then in italicized, this is a journal. But if you wanted to use Joseph Martos, it would be italicized because this is a book. Are you with me? Yes? Okay. You would say, you know, doors to the sacred, you know, and then you would follow, it would be like any other book. You would follow the same thing, like up here, you know, liturgical press, 2005, comma, and then the page number. So essentially, you would give me 2 page numbers, you know, because the presumption is Joseph Martos also footnoted that book and tells you where he found it. But I think all you have to remember here is quoted in, basically. And that connects the original source and the book that you're actually found it in. Comma, after the page number, quoted in, and then you do the second entry. Okay? That's all there.
Father Ricky, can I ask you something? This is Nabor.
Of course you may.
What if I want to use a Bible commentary? Would that be like using a book, or would that be a different way of?
Yeah, that would be also. That would also be, because it would be like Jerome biblical commentary. That would be.
Okay.
That would be a. That would, you know. Let me just get that. And I don't know if I have it here. Do I have editors? If not, I could send you that tomorrow.
Okay.
But see over here, usually this is a volume of a book, and it's edited in this case by 3 people. I don't know if I have. I thought I had editors here. So you know what I'll do? I'll send you one tomorrow, Nabor, of how to start. Oh, here, chapters within a book. Well, that's within an edited book. But anyway, that's number 4. Let me look at that. Yeah, in general, Nabor, because this would follow the same case. Let's say this was a biblical commentary, right? In this, do you see where I am down there?
Yeah.
In this case, let's say it would be, I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
It says Acts of the Apostle. This is by Richard Dillon, right? Do you see that? Oh, you can't see it. Okay.
No, I can't.
Oh, I thought you could see me. I don't know why you can't see me. Anyway, so in this case, this one is called Acts of the Apostle. That would be the name. And it's by Richard J. Dillon, right? Because you're doing Acts of the Apostle. So I would write down here, Richard J. Dillon, comma, in quotes, Acts of the Apostles, end quote, right? Comma, edited, and in this case, it's 3 editors, EDS, and then I would put the 3 editors. Again, there's no period unless it's an abbreviation, and then Collegeville Liturgical Press, and then the page number.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's that's sort of like an article within a book. It's both quotes and then italicized of the actual book. This would say directory. It would actually, in this case, it would say, you know, the commentary, Jerome biblical commentary, right? A lot of you are doing 1 Corinthians, so that's what you would write here. You would write who did that commentary, full name, first name first, comma, you know, and then quotes. I don't know how they listed here. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, comma, end quote, in Jerome biblical commentary, okay? Comma, edited, or editors, EDS, period. No period after this one, and then Collegeville, okay?
Thank you.
Father, I had a question about citing like Sacrosanctum Concilium or Germ or, you know, and they have these like, or even the rights, like, and they have these, like, I'm going to call them paragraph numbers, but they're not really paragraph numbers.
Right.
Yeah. So do you need to do it in a footnote? And then can you ever do it in the text? And do you use N period or NO period?
Great question. Usually, and I'll send you a sample of this tomorrow too. Let me write notes. So I can
Okay.
But usually for that, you can write the article number or paragraph number in the text.
Mm-hmm.
But then you might have found it somewhere. Usually either the actual website of the Vatican, or if you use, let me just find it here. I'll send you it. Like there's a wonderful one, you know, that like a lot of people have that book of the, you know, the documents about it.
The liturgy documents from LTP. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, in that case, yeah, you would use this thing. You would need to cite this. Yeah, you would need to cite the actual LTP.
Okay.
But I'll do that too. So tomorrow I'll send you.
Yeah, because if we did that like the first time and then we gave it a name like SC or something like that, and then you could do it in the text.
That's right.
Got it. Okay.
But then I'll give you samples too, and then biblical commentary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Prof.
Uh-huh.
When it comes to the footnote, I know the bibliography will come at the end of the project, of the further paper. Everything comes to the end. What about the footnote? Should be on every sheet, or also can come at the end of the paper?
I prefer footnotes. So I think you might be talking about endnotes.
What do you mean?
Are you talking about endnotes? It comes at the very end of the text.
Yeah, I'm talking about the footnotes. Do you have to put it at the bottom of the paper of each page?
Yeah.
Where it is?
Usually, does your Word document do that? Does it automatically put it at the bottom?
Okay.
It usually goes automatic to the bottom.
Oh, okay.
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 Yeah. If you need help on that, let me know. We can do a Skype set. I mean, and you could show me your screen, and I'd be able to. If you're not familiar with Word, okay.
Okay.
Is that okay? Right. Let me know about that. Notice too, by the way, bibliography, there's an indent, right? Oh, so you have the last name first, and then the first name last here, but then you indent one space. Whereas footnotes usually it's usually no indents. It just automatically continues that, and then this is single space. Okay. Say. Last thing, I guess about scripture passages.
Yeah.
Just give me, just give the abbreviation. It could be John, Psalm, or whatever, or First Cor, right? First Corinthians, and then in parentheses, guess what translation? NAB, NRSV, right, etc. Then period. Okay, and that's all for that. Oh, actually, one more thing. Block chord. You notice if it's a block quote, it should be single space. If it's I say it up here, if it's 5 or more lines. So example, a long block quotes from a book, 5 lines or more, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is 4. That should be what you do. Again, everything is double space, but then you do an indent here. And everything's indented, and it's single space. And then so for block chords, that should be single space. Okay?
So, Father,
Yeah.
if you write footnotes, do you still need to write a bibliography at the end?
Yes.
Or both?
Yeah, we need bibliography too. You have to do both. That's right.
Okay.
Put that at the end.
Excuse me, Father Ricky.
Uh-huh.
This is Sunny. Is it also okay if you justify, or because I noticed there's a block it wasn't, or I don't know if that matters.
It doesn't matter. If you want to justify, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you get any of these wrong, you're not going to, I'm going to be a little concerned. Like I said, I am going to be, it's going to be part of the grading, but it's not going to be drastic. Don't think this is all going to be, but try to follow this. Now, the reason why I demand my students do this, because me as a professor, when I go back to all my past students' papers, I want one citation process for myself. And then when we share with one another, I prefer footnotes because it's at the bottom. Like I right away see the resource. I don't have to go to the end of a paper like endnotes, and there's consistency. I know there's a consistency in page numbers, titles. So it helps me, when I grade it and when I read it per se. There's a larger issue, which I really believe Santa Clara needs to clarify as to all professors coming up with a uniform system of what we expect our students. And I think that's a disservice to you, because I think you might be getting different messages with each course as to what, how to use citations. And I believe it should be one uniform way for all GPPM, but because there's no uniform system, I think you're getting all these different instructions or different allowances, and I just don't think that's right. I think there should be more uniform.
Father, this is Yvonne.
Yeah.
And a lot of things too, if you depend on your Word, to create your references,
Yeah.
in my experience, it's wrong.
What's that?
It's wrong compared to what the way it's supposed to be. Because, like I did a paper and I plugged in all my resources and I, hit insert footnote and it did it completely wrong.
Oh,
So sometimes we have to remember not to just depend on, the Word automatically being able to put it in there for us. So
Yeah. Okay. And if you're having problems with that, let me know.
will do. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me know. Now, next week on Monday, this is due on Wednesday. On Monday, I'm flying out to have meetings with the bishops all week in Fort Lauderdale. So I'm going to be super busy. Probably not in the evening though, but I'll be in East Coast time. But yet at the same time, I don't want questions like 3 days before of how to do this. But if you have questions that I have not covered within the next few days, of course, write me. Like I didn't cover biblical commentaries or documents per se, so I'll do that tonight, and I'll post that tomorrow for you. But if something comes up, at least before Sunday, then let me know. Okay, something I had not covered per se, or if you're having problems. If you're having problems with formatting, you might be doing this Monday and Tuesday night, which is very reasonable to assume. I'm just saying my time will be very limited because I'll be with the bishops all day. Even then, I'm being very generous. Most professors say, don't talk to me at all. It's up to you. But I'm just saying, as far as my time schedule, I'm kind of free up until Sunday. Okay? Okay. Good luck. God bless.
Thank you, Father.
I hope this helps. I'll make a recording of it. Okay? So you can also go back to this. Okay?
All right. Thank you, Father.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye. Night, everyone.
Good night.